Another dark log from the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me. What's going on, fellow zombies? Are you all back to sleep yet? Hell, it's only been about 10:52 p.m. West Coast time, and it's counting down until it's May 1st in an hour and some odd minutes. It's still April 30th. We're getting closer to the 250-year anniversary of the United States being born, basically. But with everything we're getting ourselves into right now, it's hard to find that kind of celebration spirit. Hang on, I'm switching camera angles. You might be cracking your neck, tilting it a little bit here. Had to turn off my beast. Well, face hugger anyway, CPAP machine. So here we are, United States. We're trying to figure out how to celebrate. How to celebrate this holiday season. If we want to call it a holiday season, we want to call it a birthday. I mean, it's 250 years. I mean, since when does this come around? And yet, we have things screwing this up left and right for us. We voted in a greedy gas bag who's doing anything and everything to hold on to power, money, fame, and everybody else who's following his footsteps, screwing things up left and right. And yet, we're supposed to be celebrating 250 years, an anniversary of a country being born and being torn apart at the same damn time. The Founding Fathers, when they created the Constitution, as much as I understood it, put provisions in there to keep tyrants from doing what Trump is doing. And unfortunately, the people who are greedy and power hungry in our government system that we had elected for years, almost for decades, they found ways to screw that up by wanting and trying to get anything and everything they can out of it. Our elected officials, our judicial, and the executive. There were supposed to have been checks and balances to keep the departments from going after each other. They're supposed to be balancing out each other. They're supposed to be checking on each other, saying, you can't do this. It's against the Constitution. But that's the thing. If we are not following the Constitution of the United States, then what the hell are we doing? Going crazy. That's basically it. Just going crazy. I'd like to ask you guys if you understand that. And anybody overseas, anybody outside the U.S. borders, do you understand what we're going through right now? Well, I think we have gotten into the point where we are becoming very slothful, hubris, filled with too much pride and arrogance and ego, that we're thinking we are an empire of sorts. And now we have the personification of a Nero. Now, as much as I understand, old gas bag, I don't like calling him a president. I don't like calling him by his name. I'm not giving him that credence or clearance or anything else. He's full of hot air. We voted in a gas bag, and he's screwing us over left and right. And I even forgot what the hell I was going to be saying. Shit. That's what happens when you get a little older. That you start forgetting things left and right. You're supposed to be writing this shit down. Unless you're waiting for the stray thought to hit into your brain at this point. Is he like the three Roman Empire emperors? Caligula, Commodus, and who was the asshole? Nero? When they got that power hungry, they wanted their name everywhere, including on money. What is Gasbag trying to do? Get his name everywhere, including on money, passports, buildings, having edifices and monuments out there for him. He wants a legacy living forever. He wants to feel like he was one of those one of those Roman empires or Roman emperors, basically, who had power and control. But like all evil guys like that, they fell out of power, one way or another. In the United States, we're hoping for the political power to change. We're hoping that the states, 50 states, will have the power to lessen the hold on the Republican Party. Should I call it the Trumplican Party? And have the Democrats get more and more control of both houses, and the U.S. Senate. That can be done. If that can be done, God please let it happen. If it can be done, what we're hoping to do is do impeachments if we have to. The goal is not getting a Democrat into the office that way. The goal is to decrease the power of the Republican Party, who has been following Trump since day one, since Trump took office back in 2016. And then drooled and then plotted and planned while Biden was in office for 4 years. And now they had the power and they're screwing over people left and right. They have funding for a police force. Trump's police force. Department of Homeland Security, ICE, all going out there to bust people's heads. All to avoid the U.S. constitutional power. Do they really, really expect and looking forward to a violent takeover, an overthrow? Because I know in different regimes at different times, there had been that way. Now Hungary, a European country, who had a really just like Trump, wanted everything and made everything his way, taking freedoms and liberties from people left to right, and at the time to solidify his power in the election box, the people said no. But the thing of it is, hold on to this concept, okay, guys? In Hungary, the people voted, and Orbán said, okay, I will follow. I agree. You made your choice. You don't want me to be your ruler. And he stepped down. And the next guy came up, hopefully a lot better than Orbán was. So, but this time we got Trump wanting everything at this point. He wants the power. He wants the control. He wants everything. And he's doing everything he can. So a hell of a lot of manipulation from people and from places. What he's trying to do is to make sure that the Republican Party stays in power for decades on end. Pilfering, pillaging, plundering people left and right. They're saying they're doing it to help people. They're trying to be transparent, they're accountable, they're honest, and they keep lying their asses off and keep going after people who keep calling them on medias. Corporate medias, who are run by the billionaires, are having a field day over this. They want to appease Trump, but they also need the advertisers and they need the people supporting them. But the billionaires are going to say, well, you're doing what we say because we're paying you. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's how it works. When Jimmy Kimmel the first time got nailed by Trump, he made one joke, or maybe a consistency of it. Trump got pissed off enough, he leaned on the FCC, and the FCC chairman leaned on Disney, and Disney pulled him off. And a lot of people got pissed off about that one. That they boycotted. Now, here's the thing, capitalism. It's a two-edged sword. You want your power, you have to pay for it one way or another. You want the money, power, and prestige? You got to do stuff that's going to be pleasing to other people so you can get your money and power. And therefore, you can get the way of telling people off. But what if the people tell you off? Through the market, through the stocks, through the prices falling, through sell-offs, through items that they're pushing the people to buy at higher prices so the stockholders can make money off the damn thing. But what happens if you start losing value? Disney lost value. They saw the money, and they ran. They're saying, no, put it back on, put it back on, put it back on. And we're running into the same damn situation again. The FCC is still leaning on Disney, on ABC, telling them, you knock this shit off. Because Trump says so. Melania is insulted. She must be appeased. The problem is, Rod doesn't understand politics 101. But not to mention America 101. You see, in the country, we're celebrating 250 years of a nation being born out of tyranny. Does she not understand, being a dumb broad? Yeah, I did say that. That we had a tyrant king in England, King George III. And he was taxing people left and right. We told him no taxation without representation. If we're not getting represented, you're not listening to us. But you want a lot of things out of our colonies that we're breaking our buttons for. You want more money out of us than we can actually pay you at this point, just to fill your damn coffers to get more wars going on with the other countries. See, England was broke. They were skinflint broke. Blow dust off of those damn treasure boxes of theirs. Because he used all the funds they had to go against war. To go against France and Spain. And their constant battling with each other for supremacy of the world, of their version of the world anyway. And since we had the establishments of the colonies for almost a century, we made it clear to the Indians out there we were coming in to stay. We're growing by it. Some liked us and others didn't. But we were trying to make our peace with them. But England wanted more out of us. They had a military establishment in the colonies to be the enforcers. Now keep this in mind. We didn't have instant communication back then, so it took weeks for letters to come to and from. What was one thing became another thing about a month later. You gotta love those delayed reactions. If they had instant communication like we have these days, things would have been a hell of a lot weirder and different. But they didn't. So, we dealt with the British Empire on our own home soil. Now we're going to be sitting in ships because of the letters we were sending over to England, letting them know of our displeasure. The Declaration of Independence was the last straw and the last slap in the face of King George III. It basically pissed him off. That's why he sent his fleet out to us. But then again, we also sent help. We sent a request to help from France, who helped us out a great deal. The thing is, we should have paid them off during that time. We should have helped them out with their revolution, but no, we didn't. We were still struggling with our own damn debts. But we were trying to create our own damn country. And in part of the Constitution we were creating, we changed it from the Articles of the Confederation to the U.S. Constitution. We called it the Great Experiment at this point. Because there was a lot of ideas being put into it due process, telling people that we have the right to say, we make our grievance to the government without reprisal, we separate religion from government. We didn't have government tell us what religion we're going to be worshiping and how, like England was trying to do. We had other folk that came over to do their own thing concerning about their own faith. We were starting a melting pot of sorts. Wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. But I don't think our current regime understands this history, except how to cheat, lie, and pilfer, pillage, and plunder. And they get their skins rattled, especially when they get insulted by comedians. And the more the comedians go after them, well, they have very thin skin. I think they're walking gangrene, that's what they are. Exposed nerves, exposed muscles and bone to a lot of people. They want what they want, and they're not willing to share, but they're willing to take it from you. They're walking gangrene to me. Something I have to fight personally in my own physical hygiene. But how do I fight the regime's hygiene? With words and ideas. Comey, who used to be part of the Trump clan until he got backstabbed by Trump. He went after Hillary Clinton when she was going after Trump in the 2016 elections. He was trying to find ways of discrediting her. But in his way of getting after Trump, especially when he backstabbed him, apparently he grew sympathy, or sympathetic following anyway, to the point where twice already in the second term of the Trump regime, that Comey's being attacked, and Comey's saying, bring it on. Now, we may not have liked Comey going after Hillary Clinton, but I am not going to support that trash bag. I'll support Comey in his endeavors of telling Trump to go to hell. See, at times, we can have sympathetic allies for a time. We can agree to disagree, but we also agree that there's a gray area that we can work with. It's not the easiest thing for us to do, but we do it anyway. We're Americans. We compromise if we have to. We'll fight like hell if we need to. And right now, we need everybody fighting mad. We want the midterms to happen. We want primaries. You cannot take it away from us. You cannot take it away from Americans. This is our heritage. This is the way it is. This is how we elect our leaders. This is how we select our leaders. You can't be assholes about it and just ramrod your legislation through one day without any feedback from the people who you're affecting at this point. You think they're going to accept it? They're already pissed off enough at you as it is. Louisiana, you suck. As soon as you saw the Supreme Court voting in, telling us that certain gerrymandering isn't allowed, you went with it. And you went racist. You're racists. Your government, both chambers, are racists. You ramrod it without the people. The people are going to make you remember in this one. You want to hold on to power just like Trump. You want to worship Trump. He's our downfall in our country right now. He's a reminder why we have the U.S. Constitution. He's a reminder why we separated from King George in England. But you want to follow the gas bag. You want to follow the golden bullshit. You think you're so religious and faithful to God. It's saying that you're Christians at this point. You're all fucking hypocrites at this point. It's okay to have doubts. But flip-flopping like crazy? Even God had a problem in Exodus, dude. A golden calf got melted by God. And those who worshipped him, bye. You want to know the dramatic images of it? Look at Cecil B. DeMille's version of the damn thing. That'll scare the hell out of you. You want to read the actual? Read it in the Exodus. But if you're going to start calling yourself Christians, read the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Read what Jesus was saying to the people on the Mount. And what he was trying to tell people, what he was trying to teach people. You do good. You be good to your enemy. You love your enemy as you love yourself. You love your neighbor as you love yourself. If the neighbor's going to be slapping you upside the head, just offer this one. Say, hey, you forgot this one here. Without going into attack mode. You're supposed to be showing God was in human form to demonstrate what he wants from people. He didn't want all this damn violence. He didn't want the Roman Empire killing people left and right. But he wasn't denouncing it either, or the Pharisees. He was denouncing all the violence we were doing against each other. Even if the enemy was going to be killing you. Jesus was on the cross, beaten, battered, bruised, broken. And they hung him in there like a piece of meat, and he still said, God forgive them, they don't know what the hell they're doing, before he passed away. God forgive them, but they do not know what they're doing. I remember these things in the studies when I was growing up as a kid. And hearing from what pastors were saying concerning about what it was like for them to be, a Christian. Or, I'll take that back. A follower of Christ. A follower of Jesus. Not just being part of a religious organization, but being part of Jesus' family. And to me, when I'm hearing those kind of lessons from the different pastors out there, I'm thinking to myself, we're talking family and we're sacrificing each other to help the family. And I'm blessed enough to have a family. Growing up, I had a family. Big brother and a mother. And that was it. And some dogs. I didn't have a biological sperm donor called a father or a dad. I had a big brother trying to do that. But he was just trying to be a big brother. He was still learning the way of the ropes as well as he could, being 8 years older than I was. I had uncles I looked up to for hopefully a father figure. There was something that I said as an insult I wish I could take back. I really wish I could. Because there have been times I looked at one or two favorite uncles and I kept thinking, Ma, why weren't you like these guys? Why couldn't you just been like them? It was like a slap in the face to my mother. I wish I could forgive. I wish I could beg for her forgiveness. She was trying to do the best she could. A single mom in the 1960s going through the 70s, that was hard as hell. And she struggled and she did the best she could. Then it came the 80s when I became a teenager and she was already screwed up. But That's another story right there for another time. But still, I have a hell of a lot more respect for both my big brother and my mother. They're all passed away. And I've been living alone ever since. It hasn't been easy. And I'm still learning what it is to be a follower of Christ. Not a Christian nationalist. Not a Christian, what people think it is. They started this Christian cult thing well after Christ had passed away, and it was through the teachings of the 12 disciples and what they were talking and telling people about. The lessons are in there. Acts have talked about it. Romans have talked about it. Ecclesiastics, I think? I know, I really have to bone up on it. I understand there was other stories in the Old Testament that people still fall for time to time. They keep thinking about revenge, an eye for an eye. You know, an eye for an eye, you're blinded as hell. And only a one-eyed jack can lead your ass either over a cliff or away from the damn cliff. But think about these things, guys. Do your own homework. If you're going to be a follower of Christ, if you're going to be a follower of Jesus, if you're going to be of the faith of that, you got to keep the politics out of this shit. Christ never did like the politics. He liked humanity. He didn't like the Roman Empire using the pointy sword on everybody. He sure as hell didn't like the Pharisees brainwashing people left and right. They wanted more money out of people. They were living it up in their damn temples. And the bullshit that I heard from a war, quote-unquote, war secretary, telling us about the media being Pharisees. Did this asshole actually read the Bible and understood what the hell the Pharisees were? These were supposedly the wise men that theoretically educated people about what the hell happened in the Old Testament to people. The history. But they were so consumed with their own greed and their own power. They didn't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. But they had a master over them, Caesar. You guys understand a bit of history, what's going on. A lot of this shit happened. Repeating cycles left and right. But then empires rise up for hundreds of years and fall. The Egyptians, Mayans, Roman Empire. What about the Persians as well? Roman Empire split in two. They still maintain a little bit of power in what territories they could, while the other portion just died off. Persians just blended into the environment, lost the empire. Genghis Khan faded out in history. There have been other empires. There have been other kingdoms out there. And rulers rise and rulers fall. We're lucky and fortunate enough our particular country has lasted nearly 250 years without officially falling apart. Unofficially, we have been crumbling for decades. We just hadn't seen it or paid attention to it. But we have been. When you look at the dollar bill, it's not Trump's face that you see. You look at the back of it. Not where the face is at, but a construction of a pyramid. And you notice on the pyramid that it's incomplete. That's our country. It's supposed to be incomplete because it's in process on a constant basis. Constantly growing in any and every direction it can. Not as a rising empire, but as a country still redefining itself in each generation. In each election cycle and in each generation that rise up, has their time, and then fall away. Another future generation has already taken its place. Our country develops. Our country is supposed to grow, not stagnate, not into an imperial state. We're supposed to be a republic. We're supposed to be a representative government where we give power to representatives and senators to make the laws necessary for our country to function and to make it better for everybody. But it's always that better is always under scrutiny and definition. We will never be a complete country or a complete thing. We're supposed to be developing, always growing, understanding, learning. We haven't. We've gone dumber and dumber at this point, and the rest of the world knows about it. So how are we supposed to look at ourselves when the anniversary hits on July 4th? How are you going to look at yourself in the mirror? How are you going to look at yourself in a camera? How are you going to look at the other neighbors? How are you going to feel? How are you supposed to know what it is to be American? Are we that prideful, arrogant, hubris-filled? Ego has to run everything? Or are we supposed to be following an idea, an ideology that humility, humbleness, rules, regulations, laws, freedom, justice, we have checks and balances in a government system that's supposed to run. We have an incomplete document that still learns and grows with every amendment that goes into it. Fair play. The things that we were taught as kids a long time ago. The older generation tried to pound it into our heads. Did we ever learn in my generation? Is the future generation going to be understanding all this shit? Do they want to? It's not need to. Do they want to? And if they do want to, then what are you guys going to do about it? I posed a question to you, my fellow Americans, who call themselves Americans, who call themselves citizens of the United States, regardless if you came over the border or you were born on the soil or in territory.